Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of 5 Questions with Blessing Abeng. Today I have an amazing guest. I am so excited about this guest because he really inspires me in different ways. He doesn't know that. He's really hearing it now for the first time. Is this the first time? No. I've told him before. So guys, without much further ado, let's put our hands together for the amazing, the delectable John Obidi. Hi John.
Hey Blessing.
Okay, so what you're going to do is how this works. How are you?
I'm fine.
That's not part of your 5 questions.
Okay.
So how this works is I'm going to ask you 5 questions and
That's
then you
good.
get to ask me 5 questions.
Okay.
Right? But before we start all of this drama, introduce yourself. Tell us all the amazing things you do.
My name is John Obidi. I'm an online business consultant. I run a community of Nigerian entrepreneurs called Head Start Africa. And we have about 105,000 members of that online community where we learn about life, personal development, and business.
Okay, so my 5 questions.
Hear me.
What 3 important lessons have you learned in your journey, your business journey?
Number 1, you cannot grow in isolation.
Okay.
I think that God put us on earth to figure out how to cooperate and grow. If we were supposed to be alone, He would have created each person with their own planet to go govern. But instead, there are about 7 billion of us in this globe, and we have to figure out how to cooperate and build our dreams. So you cannot grow in isolation. I learned that. A huge part of my growth has been the product of right partnerships, right friendships, being around the right people, the right mentors. So it will go a long way.
Okay, that's great. That's 2, right?
That's 1 question, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're supposed to give me 3.
Oh, 3. So how many have I given you so far?
1.
1. So we've got 2 more. What 3 lessons? This is rather impromptu.
Yep.
Consistent practice gives you a better chance at success. So for those of us who are in the creative industry, only the best of us really get recognized for bigger opportunities.
That's so true.
And so creativity is not something you practice once and then you try it again next week. You know, some of us have had to be maniacs and we practice every single day, giving ourselves to deep study for days, weeks, months at a time. And then there's a lot of work that goes on in the background and we shine in public. So consistent practice really has come through for me. That's 2. One more thing. Whoa.
Just 1 more.
Okay, this one is peculiar to the work that I do and the city I live in, Lagos. I have learned to work remotely.
Oh wow.
Yes, so most of my meetings happen on Skype.
Zoom, I know that.
Skype, Zoom, and most of the way I build my brand too, I have been able to leverage on online tools. I just got back from Brazil where I was living for 4 months and I did not drop a beat with my audience in Nigeria because instead of holding physical meetings, I held it all on Facebook Live. I could do my webinars, my trainings, my mentorships, and I felt like I was still around.
That's amazing.
And I learned that by living in Lagos, where half your life can be swallowed up in traffic.
On the road.
So living in Lagos had forced me to evolve to that level. It gets you picky about which meetings you have to show up to, which ones can be Skyped. And yeah, so it has really helped me. So if you're living in Lagos or any town or any city where there's a lot of traffic or where you have a lot to do, try to learn remote work.
Yes. So how did you learn these lessons you learned?
Just being in Lagos.
All of them, all 3 of them?
Yeah, just being in Lagos. I mean, I didn't have a book of law to read through when I was starting. I wish I did. But I learned these things on the streets. When you get into, you know, your crafts in a place like Lagos, and then the market gives you bars, boosts. And over time, you learn to avoid the bars boosts, and you get wiser. You know, so just maneuvering through the Lagos environment, you just learn a couple of things, and these 3 things stuck out for me.
So how have these lessons impacted your life and your business in general?
Oh, they have. By the grace of God, I'm regarded as perhaps in the top 1% of my profession, and that's because I have learned to be very frugal. Lagos, if not for any other place in the world, will teach you time management. Okay, it will teach you how to connect to the right people. Because I only moved to Lagos in 2014. I was originally based in Benin City.
Yeah.
So when I moved here, I just observed the environment, and I realized that the most successful people here were the most connected, not necessarily the most intelligent. You know, occasionally those lines might intersect, but they were mostly the people who were
the right people.
They were the right people. And at that point, I was a very reserved and introverted person. Nowadays,
So hard to believe, guys.
yes, I know. I say that people think I'm just talking, but it's true. I used to be extremely and chronically shy.
Wow.
Yeah. If you had told me, John, you were doing public speaking one day, I would have run away.
But you're a testimony that these things are possible.
Yeah,
like you can
I
totally evolve from one thing to another.
Yes.
Thing. Amazing.
Yes. So coming here, I had to just reinvent myself. There are people that I meet today. We've met before, and I know we've met before, but they don't know. They think they're meeting me for the first time.
Oh wow.
And I play along too. Like, oh, nice to meet you. So that's just how much of a turnaround it's been.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
so
I'm so proud.
these lessons, they really impacted my life and business. If I never learned these lessons, nobody would know John Obidi. You know, so I had to learn, I had to grow, I had to evolve to become who I am today and keep on doing what I'm doing.
I'm major proud of you, actually, I am. So my fourth question would be, if you know a startup, or actually all the startups out there, or businesses or entrepreneurs who are trying to start something, what one message can you give them, or what message can you give them to help ease their journey through business?
Okay, so I will take this lesson out of Darwin's theory of evolution, and something that he noted, people have remembered for a long time, was that the species that survived all the different ages, the ice age and so on, were not the ones that were the strongest or the biggest. If it was based on strength and size, the dinosaurs would probably still be here. But the species that survived are the ones that were willing and able to adapt.
Great.
So what's true today might not be true tomorrow. The landscape is ever shifting, and the startups of today that will be the startups of tomorrow are those that are willing to adapt to emerging realities. So you've got to be nimble, quick on your feet, willing and able to embrace new knowledge and change.
That's actually an amazing lesson.
Yes.
It is.
I'll give you a quick example with my brand. For a long time, the whole public speaking route, you had to show up in person, organize seminars and so on. But I came to Lagos and I'm like, yo, my whole life can be swallowed up commuting. You know, I don't have a helicopter yet. You know, and I started to think, how can I do public speaking engagements from my house? And so I began to leverage on webinars. That was me adapting, right? Before I started doing webinars and the skill that I was doing it, I don't know if that many people were doing it, but I think I basically set a standard in my thought leadership space here in Nigeria. And I began to hold a lot of webinars on Facebook Live. And then moving on, my paid seminars, I began to hold them on Facebook Live. So people would pay to watch me teach something on Facebook Live, and I would never have to leave where I was. But if I wasn't willing to adapt and change, I wouldn't be here. And right now, I have a large audience online, 105,000 people. And if I hadn't been willing to change, I wouldn't have built that cloud. That can be anywhere in the world, and it does not stop my earning capabilities.
Wow. Yeah. On a less serious note, tell me something random.
Random.
Very random. We could always have this one.
Okay. This is one that shocks a lot of people. I don't know why. I've never had alcohol.
Oh, I knew that too, but I think this can pass.
You're trying to get some kind of deep secret.
I didn't. No. Why? But I think this can pass. But that's fine. I mean, you're high on your own, so I don't think you need it.
I think so.
Yeah. So your turn. My 5 questions.